Here's the thing, man. Welterweight has had a lot of movement this year. Recently, Jack Della Maddalena just became the champion at UFC 305. Obviously, that was a great moment. But I wanted to take a moment to talk about these new generation fighters coming up in the welterweight division and just give a ranking and my personal assessment of how far they will go in the sport and how good they are. Obviously, JDM, like I said, is the champion. So I'm not really going to rank him. He's the champ, right? We're talking about the up-and-coming prospects here. So we're going to jump straight into it with Michael Morales, right? He just got a first-round finish over Gilbert Burns in the last weekend's his main event. Obviously, he looked good, but I don't think he's actually that good. I think he's kind of overrated. He reminds me of Terrence McKinney. If Terrence McKinney had a chin, he just has that athleticism, the durability. He's just like a new age fighter. He's just big, huge dude, fast, in his prime. And honestly, I wasn't really impressed with the finish. It was more like, oh, Burns was washed. He's just not able to take the punches. And it seemed like after he got rocked, he didn't recover. I'm talking about Gilbert Burns, of course, and that shows the age of it. He's young, he's undefeated, but I need to see more from him. I need to see him in an actual fight. Everything has been mostly like either one-way traffic because he's young, or he's shown holes in his game, especially with the defense. He kind of attacks, goes crazy, footwork goes wild, and then he's careless, and he goes back to he changes into that patience mode. So not ranking him very highly. We're gonna move on to number 5, Carlos Prates. I think he's very good. I'm a big CP fan. I will be watching CP whenever he fights next. But honestly, I can't rank him that high coming off of a loss like that where his hype train is kind of broken. Even though he looked good, he hasn't fought anybody that is not old yet. And when he did, either not old or just on that high level, I believe that, he's fought, Radke and such and such. But in the highest level, he hasn't fought any younger dudes his age in their primes. I think he has a lot of power. He has great striking, but I just don't think I can rank him that high right now. Moving on. Sean Brady, man. Number 4. Again, he finished Leon, right? That was a very, very impressive win. But I personally think Sean Brady is not well-rounded. I think he's too one-dimensional as a fighter. He could definitely prove me wrong in the future, if he gets like a winner of Buckley Usman matchup, or, I don't think he's getting the title shot anytime soon. Unless, as a short notice, but I need to see him fight somebody else that could keep it standing, like a Buckley matchup, like a Rakhmonov matchup, or even an Ian Garry matchup. I want to see how he would perform. He's looked pretty good so far, but I need to see more from the striking. And even though finishing Leon Edwards dominated him and the grappling is impressive, it's not like the craziest thing in the world, because Leon Edwards' grappling isn't super great. He's convinced us that it's super great, but it's not that good actually, especially with his jiu-jitsu. Not elite. That's what I'm saying. So that's why I don't think Sean Brady is that highly touted as a prospect, but somebody that I do have more faith in is Joaquin Buckley. Y'all remember I made a video a year back talking about Joaquin Buckley, and I'm a big fan of him, right? I think he's a great fighter. I think he's developing into a great athlete. He's using his athleticism a lot better now, and he's very suited for this weight class. And I just like the experience he has, and the training that he's doing now. And I think he's on a great path of just beating up old dudes. Even though he hasn't fought anybody young, which is one of my biggest criticism of his resume, he still shows up and looks great against these unks that are, still at the top. I'm mainly talking about Wonder Boy. Okay, Wonder Boy is knocking out Wonder Boy like that is pretty impressive. And just neutralizing Colby's offense, where he doesn't even get anything on you, that's pretty impressive as well. Not crazy. I need to see him fight somebody young. I don't think him beating Usman makes me think, oh, this guy's going to be amazing. Unless he absolutely dominates Usman, which I don't see happening. I think it'll be a close fight, which Buckley wins. But if he dominates Usman and chins him, then, like that could be a different story. But I think he has great cardio. He has great fight IQ. He knows, he has game plans going into fights. He's not just the same guy over and over again. And he's still developing as a fighter. That's why I believe in Joaquin Buckley. Moving on, man. Ian Garry. Look, I know y'all don't like Ian Garry, but I think he's truly a great fighter. I think he's really good. And he's beating somebody young, all right? He's beating not just old men. And I know he's not doing it in as impressive fashions as some of these other guys. I feel like sometimes taking somebody to a decision is a lot more impressive, very skill high type of thing to like maintain that the advantage for such a long time. And I think the way he's developing his game, becoming a very well-rounded fighter, is a great way to go about it, especially in his division. I really rate that win over Carlos Prates because he just mixed it up and outstruck him. And I believe he can do that with a lot of other fighters as well. I think if he fought Bilal now, which I think is a great fight that should definitely make, Ian Garry versus Bilal, the two annoying dudes of the division. But, they're in similar places, I would say, in the title picture where they both need a win. And I think he does good against Bilal. But I just like how he is. He's faster than before. He's looked a little more impressive. And he just has a better resume, better consistency. Yeah, man. I mean, like, I think that's a pretty crazy, not a crazy take, but moving on to number one, it's Shavkat. All right, look, I know he's inconsistent, and that's my number one criticism of his resume, is that he's only fighting once a year, but he's looked pretty good. Last fight against Ian Garry, all right, but Ian Garry has proved that he's a great fighter as well. So, I think that Shavkat just needs to get his shit together, maybe train a little easier on his body, but I think he's good. I think his grappling is a bit overrated, but his well-roundedness is good enough to take him to the top. The way he fights, he has a lot of power. He has a lot of presence in the cage, and just him being that, I think is great. But I do think that some of these other prospects might out-wrestle him. Obviously, we don't know until we see the fights. But yeah, man, that's my assessment of the welterweight quote-unquote title picture of the up-and-coming prospects. Let me know what y'all think in the comments, and I'll see y'all in the next one.